Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Poly plus Amore equals Us. This is our 5th episode, which is just nuts to me. I can't believe we've already been doing this for over a month. It's really cool. So before we jump into this week's episode, I have an announcement. Next week, we will not be putting out a normal podcast episode. Instead, we are going to be doing a live stream. So we won't be recording an episode. It's going to be live, and it's going to be Monday night when Mike gets home from work. And so hopefully a lot of you will be available for that too. But it's going to be Monday, which I believe is the 8th, right? Yeah. But it's going to be Monday the 8th at 7 p.m. And it's a live stream. And the link to that is down below. So go to the show notes and you can see the link. Or if you follow me on social media, I will send you the link there. Or if you want to email us, I can email you the link. So there's all the ways for you to join. But we're really excited. This is something we have been talking about since before we even started the podcast, was doing these once a month to sort of build more of a community and to really get to know more of you and for you guys to get to know us on a little more of a personal basis. So these live chats are going to be, you can hop on, it's a live stream, so you just hop on and then you can type in the chat questions that you have for us and we will answer them live right there with you. And like no topic is off limits. Anything you want to ask us about, either our relationships, our personal lives, whatever. I mean, you can ask us anything. But this is really a place to sort of like build this community and to have discussions like live instead of you just hearing from us. So we're really excited for this, and we really, really hope you're going to tune in and ask us questions. So that's again going to be a week from today, Monday, March 8th at 7 p.m. All right. Now, for this week's episode, we talk about jealousy and insecurities with the other person dating. We really delve into Mike's perspective because he's the one who's really had to deal with that more than I have. So again, this is really fun to, hear more from Mike and get his perspective. So let's jump right in. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Poly plus Amore equals Us. We are the Us. I'm Elisa. This is Mike.
Hi.
And we make up the Us. And today we're going to talk about jealousy and insecurities around the other person dating. So let's hop right into that. So I started really dating other people at the beginning of 2019. And we had gotten married the summer of 2018. So it was like 6 months later-ish when I started to really start to date other people, or at least consider it. And yeah, I think it was it was the end of March, beginning of April when I met somebody who I was like, oh wow, I like this guy. I want to go on a date with him. And so I remember being super nervous to tell Mike, because I was still a little bit scared, because even though we had decided to be polyamorous and we had decided that it was going to be okay for both of us to date other people, this was going to be the first time. And it was going to be the first time since I had cheated. And so even though we had worked through all of that and healed all of that, And if you want to hear that story, go back and listen to episode 4. Episode 4, we talk all about that whole incident. But so even though we had like healed through that and moved on from that, our relationship was great. We got married. Things were going well. I was still really nervous to tell Mike because I was just afraid like it's going to bring all that stuff up again, you know, and our relationship is going really well, but now like I guess this was like the first test, like okay, I'm really going to date somebody else for real now while our relationship is good and strong, and let's see how this goes. So yeah, I was really really nervous to tell Mike, but I knew I had to, you know. So yeah, I did. Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah. Not in
Yeah.
the greatest detail, but I remember it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe not in the greatest detail. I remember we had just moved to our apartment. Actually, the apartment that we are living in now. Not the like exact same apartment, but we're like back in the same complex. So we had just moved. We got everything set up, and I can remember like laying on our bed, sitting there like before we were gonna like go to sleep or whatever, and I brought it up. And
Yeah, I think, well, so for me at that time, I was like late spring, early summer of 2019.
yeah,
So it'd been like a year and a half since the cheating happened.
yeah,
So as you were saying, like we were in a good spot. And like this is what we had talked about, like opening up our relationship. And I just wasn't, I felt like I just wasn't quite ready to like fully pursue that myself yet. So, you know, like I was focused on other things. So obviously you were ready to start dating, and you had met somebody that you wanted to go on a date with.
yeah.
So now you were trying to bring that up to me and talk to me about that for the first time.
Yeah, but how were you feeling during that time? Because I was really nervous to bring it up, but obviously I knew I had to, but it was hard for you. So kind of tell us about that.
It was difficult because it was. I mean, my logical side was like, this is what we decided. Like we chose this lifestyle, and like this is just a part of it. So like the logical side was like, yeah, like this is fine. Like this is exactly what you chose.
Yeah.
So, you know, what are you worried about?
Yeah.
But then like other emotions came up though. Like I was still you know, there's still like a bit of pain. Right? Maybe not. Actually, there wasn't leftover pain from the cheating. It was more just like there was a little bit of like fear and like paranoia there. Like, oh, like I don't want something like that to happen again.
Yeah.
That was like an instant like defensive reaction.
Yeah.
Even though like we had gone, you know, we had talked so much and like progressed, you know, to a good level, and I was like comfortable with where we were now, and with how open we were being with each other.
Yeah.
So I knew like something like the cheating incident wasn't going to happen again as it did.
Yeah.
But I still like, you know, just as like to protect myself a little bit, I was like, whoa, like, you know, like I hope this doesn't happen again. Like there was a little bit of fear there and like apprehension, just like I don't know, just mentally and like emotionally prepared just in case something like really bad happens.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a back and forth of like, oh, like I know this is gonna be okay, but like, oh, I hope it never gets to like that point that it had gotten to like, you know, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And so I was just kind of like, and also this was the first time you had ever brought up dating somebody, so I was also trying to figure out like, you know, I was trying to find a balance between like knowing it was okay in my head, but like also still feeling some fear, some concern.
That reminds me of those those like cartoons, the Awkward Yeti cartoons with the brain and the heart.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Where the brain is like saying one thing, but then the heart is like wanting to do another.
Yeah, and that's like I feel like that's normal. I feel like everyone experiences that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess so that first time it was because you've dated since then and it's gotten easier.
Yeah.
But that first time because it was so brand new, I was dealing with kind of more, I'd say like just like stronger and like sharper emotions.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the worry was a little stronger. There was a little bit of jealousy. That was, I don't know. I'd say that wasn't like super strong,
Yeah.
but it was still there.
Yeah.
Like now, I don't know. The past like few times you've gone out, like I just haven't felt any jealousy. I'm just like I just feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that first time it was definitely there.
Yeah.
And then just also some just some insecurity, just like oh, what if this guy's like amazing and like Elisa like doesn't want to be with me anymore.
Yeah.
It's kind of paranoid, but
Yeah.
it's still there. I feel like you're kind of like just preparing for the worst.
Yeah.
Like that's just how that's how we defend ourselves
Yeah.
emotionally.
But I feel like that's a pretty normal concern, and I mean, I remember telling my parents, like, oh yeah, Mike and I are opening up our relationship, and we're going to be polyamorous now. And that was one of the first questions they asked, was like, well, what happens if you fall in love with somebody else? And it was like, well, isn't that kind of the point? But I mean, that is the first question. They're like, well, what if you like this other person more than Mike? And so like I think that's something that's a very common fear, and one of like the first things we think of, right? And along the lines of jealousy is, what if this other person is better than me? And so then what if you don't want to be with me anymore? That I think that's everyone's sort of like first fear, or like their like number one fear in a sense.
Yeah. That's also it's a legitimate fear, but it's also just that's like the risk you take on when you decide to be polyamorous.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you do have the ability to like have more intimate romantic relationships with other people, but yeah, you do have to deal with like the negative emotions that are associated with it too.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you got to deal with the bad also.
Yeah. But that's just like in any relationship.
Yeah.
Any type of relationship, there's going to be good and bad, and you have to work through all of it.
Yeah, and I think ultimately it all boils down to just like fully trusting the other person to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Like be responsible, be ethical, like follow the rules that we had talked about.
Yeah.
And if they're completely open, with what's going on with this new relationship, and we're putting in enough effort to like carve out enough time in our schedules to be with each other and spend quality time together, then I think it can be done.
Yeah.
And like you don't have to have that fear or concern.
Yeah.
It's not like your like or your love for someone else is like taking away from me. It's just
Exactly.
adding more onto what you have.
Yeah.
And I didn't fully realize that until like I actually had had my first like dating, like intimate experience with someone else.
Yeah.
Outside of our relationship.
Yeah.
But like how I felt there was just that. Like I felt like it was adding, not taking away.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, like I've experienced it. Like I get it now.
Yeah.
I understand it.
Yeah.
So
let's go back a little bit. I want to circle back to that, your experience, but let's go back a bit. So I'm dating for the first time, and it was hard for you, and so like let's talk about some of the boundaries, right? And some of like the rules that we had, because they've changed since then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Some of the specifics.
Yeah, some of them have.
So, yeah, like some of the main rules we had are like never, like we don't want to date any like immediate friend.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to ruin or just damage our friendship circle in any way.
Yeah.
So, no dating immediate friends. We have to be completely open and honest from like the very beginning, from like when we first like are talking to someone to when we like decide to go on a date with them.
Yeah.
We have to be, we have to discuss and like tell the other person exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And as much detail as they want to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, just have a general idea of what's happening.
Yeah.
And what you're feeling.
Yeah.
For that other person. So yeah, there's that, and then another rule was just like, we don't want to take anyone back to our place because this is like, this is our place.
Yeah.
It would get very messy.
Yeah.
And complicated, and we just want to keep our space and our relationship separate.
Yeah. Well, and plus, like, we also had a roommate at the time, and then we moved into a 1-bedroom, so it was like, what space?
I couldn't have like,
it wouldn't have worked anyway.
It would have been so awkward to like try to force that to work.
Yeah, that would have been weird anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, now that we're in a 2-bedroom on our own, actually, we could, I don't know, that's a conversation we could have. But yeah, so that rule was almost just like with the logistics, it just didn't make sense. Yeah. It was like, yeah.
I guess the main rule at that time that we decided to change was that I wanted Elisa to like tell me, like, or text or call me, like what her intent was before possibly like kissing or sleeping with someone.
Yeah.
Which was maybe a little too I don't know.
That
Minority
one was,
Report like? It was
yeah.
a little too invasive or just not quite practical.
Yeah, it just wasn't practical. I mean,
because you're not going to be like, right at like, if someone's about to kiss you, you're like, hold on, I got to text.
Right, like, hold on, exactly. And so that one wasn't very practical. I mean, yeah. I agreed to it, of course, and because it was the very first time, and so, and you were still, it was tough for you. And so this was just going to help kind of like put your mind at ease to know like what step I was in, sort of. And so, yeah, that was kind of the rule. And I think I was able to tell you. So what ended up happening was like after like the first date, or it was like when I was getting ready to go on my first date, saying like, okay, like we're probably gonna kiss, right? It's a first date. That usually happens, like,
if it goes well.
Yeah, if it goes well. So like that is a possibility, and like it was something that I wanted, and so that is kind of more like how it ended up working, was that like I would say like it's a possibility that it's going to happen on this date, and then it would, and so then I would come back and tell you about the date and how it went, and and be like, yeah, we kissed, it was good, like all that kind of stuff. And then when I would get ready to go on my next date, it would be like, okay, so here's the plan for the date. There's a chance that like maybe, like maybe we could be intimate, like, so just so that's like a possibility. So it was more like we would just discuss what was like on the horizon before a date, and then after the date, I would tell you like, okay, this happened or this didn't happen, or like whatever,
Yeah.
But after that, yeah, like we kind of decided like, okay, like it's too hard, because then.
Yeah, I think I was just trying to exercise a little too much control over the situation that wasn't needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just, because it was still new, like,
yeah,
we talked about it like a year and a half earlier, and like this was the first time it was happening.
Exactly.
And so I was just like, yeah, I was just new.
Yeah.
It was new, and I was trying to like just, I guess, protect myself.
Yeah.
And that was like one way I thought would help, is if like I knew beforehand what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But
did it help?
Well, I mean, you couldn't actually, like, you never actually texted me like right before something had happened.
Well, no, but I mean,
I think actually just
talked about it, and
I think talking about it afterwards is the better way to go.
I actually think I did text you. It was like, hey, I just got off work and I'm gonna go over to his place and we're gonna hang out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was, and so I think it did actually happen that way. I texted you being like, I'm gonna go to his place, and I like there's a possibility like we could have sex. And
yeah, I guess. I mean, it didn't help as much as I thought it would.
Yeah,
it's just, I think just knowing like, oh, I'm gonna be on a date with this person. Here's like where we're at now, and then just talking about it, the next day or the next time we have time to hang out.
Yeah.
That's probably the more realistic way to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So it was kind of tough at first.
Yeah. Yeah. But then it got easier, and yeah, and our rules sort of changed a little bit. Like we got rid of that one. Because then once you started getting a little more comfortable with me dating, and then you started thinking about, well, what would happen if you started dating. That's when we had talked about like that is just like so unrealistic, because like what if you meet someone and you're having a great time, and it's totally out of the blue and unexpected, and like you go home with them and you sleep with them. Like if all of that happens in one night, it's going to be really hard to be like,
Yeah.
oh wait, let me just text the other, and
Yeah.
like, and actually that's exactly what ended up happening to you.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, but we got rid of that rule, but it was like we had talked about that scenario happening, and we were like, okay, this rule just doesn't make sense anymore. And then lo and behold, it actually happened.
Yeah.
And so you kind of like lived it and realized like, okay, yeah, that rule really didn't make sense. But it helped
Yeah.
you in that time, and it could maybe help somebody else too. If they're just starting, like just opening up their relationship, and maybe that would help them to kind of like have sort of like that play by play, or just like the talking about it beforehand of like, this is what could happen on this date, are we okay with that? Like that could be actually a really good like strategy for another couple.
Yeah.
If they're starting out.
Yeah, if they're okay with, wanting that level of detail.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, just in hindsight for me, it didn't really work out how I thought it would.
Yeah.
There was also another issue at play. I just remember I was working a lot at that point,
Yeah.
and I was a little resentful because I was like, oh, you have all this time to like go date, and I don't have that time. And so part of me was like, oh, like I want to know.
That
Like,
was that crazy summer of like weddings and bachelor parties.
yeah, and I was also just working a ton.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
working,
that
like,
that
50,
was a
60 hour
crazy
weeks.
time. Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, like, so part of me was like, yeah, like, if I'm gonna be working this much and I feel like I don't have the time to go out dating, like, I want to like know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
I guess it was just kind of my way of like trying to regain some control over the situation.
Yeah.
But then as I just chilled out a bit and got more comfortable with it,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, like this isn't the way to go. And like, yeah, like as you were saying, if I really had to think of about it from the opposite perspective. Like, what if I was actually going out on a date and then you were in my shoes?
Yeah.
Like, would I want to be texting like that? Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, we do still try to text each other like at least once in the night,
Yeah.
just to like be like, hey, like we're still thinking of you.
Yeah.
Maybe give like a recap of what's happened so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a little check in.
Yeah.
Just a little high.
Yeah. And so then, yeah, so things started to get easier. We changed our rules a little bit, and so was it really just like time that sort of helped you get used to the idea of like me dating other people, or?
Yeah, it was. I think it was two things. I think it was just time and like getting used to it.
Yeah.
It was so brand new. But it was also just like the whole like resentful part of like me working a lot. It was also the fact that like I just wasn't like I hadn't quite like transitioned to like trying to date other people.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I wasn't quite like ready like you were.
Yeah.
And so I also just needed to like come to terms with that myself and be like, okay, like just I don't need to work this much. Like what I really want to focus on are like it's my relationship with you and like maybe finding another relationship somewhere else. So
Yeah.
I just kind of had to like shift my priorities and just have more fun in general.
Yeah.
have more time to relax and like enjoy life.
Yeah.
So there was, yeah, I mean, that was definitely an underlying issue at the time too. Like I can't ignore that. It wasn't all just like the novelty of like being polyamorous.
Yeah.
It was others, other stressors in life going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think yeah, both those got better.
Yeah.
Like I was able to just like enjoy myself more because I had more time, I had more energy, and then I also just got used to the fact that like I guess once I realized like once you had done it, I realized it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I can calm down now.
Yeah, it was like you had to go through that first experience, and yeah, once you realize like, oh, it's not as like crazy as I thought it was going to be, then
Yeah.
it got better.
Yeah, and you were doing a good job of just being completely transparent in describing like what your thoughts and feelings were.
Yeah.
So it's like you did what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
In terms of our rules.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the next like few guys you dated, it just got easier and easier, and like the jealousy, the insecurity, it's kind of like the resentment just wasn't really there.
Yeah.
Every now and then I would get like a little insecure and be like, oh, like like it's like I would. Part of it was like I want to also be dating.
Yeah.
So there was that part of it too.
Yeah.
And another part of it was like oh, like I want to like be with you at the same time.
Yeah.
So every now and then like that would kind of get triggered.
Mm-hmm.
But I really just had to put it all in perspective and be like, hey, like this is what we chose, and like we're in like a really good spot in our relationship right now, and we're still seeing each other often, and we go out.
Yeah.
Enough to like enjoy ourselves. So yeah, I just had to remind myself of like where I was, and not just go down that like negativity spiral.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, so would you say that like by like 2020, so like a year later, or even just near the end of 2019, like it was easier, it was fine?
Yeah. I'd say it was fine. And yeah, because that's also when, or no, it was early 2020. It's like February 2020 when I first had my like.
It was March.
Or sorry, it was March. Yes, early March, very early March.
Yeah, first week of March.
Yeah, right before COVID hit.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, no, even before then, like end of 2019, I was comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And then once I like, had my like, date, like intimate experience, my first one.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, even then it got a little bit easier too.
Yeah. So.
Because up to that point, it was all you dating, not like none of me. So I was like, well.
Yeah.
I'm not living this lifestyle that we chose, so.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's a little bit of self-pressure there almost.
Yeah.
So.
And and that kind of played into the jealousy, insecurity
More
thing.
so the insecurity thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't, yeah, because the jealousy would be like me getting angry at like, being like angry or like upset at you.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that at all. It was more just like, I was upset at myself.
Yeah.
So it was more of like an insecurity thing.
Yeah. Okay, and so then yeah, like let's talk more about when you had your first experience. I mean, you kind of in the very first episode. Was that the first episode? No, it was in the second episode. In episode 2, you talked about kind of like what happened, and gave us more of like a play-by-play of that night. But like, let's talk about like how you were feeling once you did have that experience, and you were like, finally, like let's circle back to that, like what you were saying earlier in the conversation.
Well, I mean, it was completely unexpected.
Yeah.
The way the whole night played out.
Yeah.
And the following night was totally unexpected too, because I was supposed to hang out with her.
Yeah.
And then I ended up having like the worst kidney stone flare up.
Yeah.
Of my life, and I was like an excruciating pain all night.
Yeah, if you want to,
probably the worst night of my life.
If you want to hear the whole story of that, go back and listen to. It's in the second episode. Go back and listen to that, and Mike he talks about the whole story there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was kind of unfortunate how, like, yeah, just how it played out. Because we weren't able to, like, see each other, like, romantically again.
Yeah.
And then after that, she'd come to the conclusion, like, yeah, like, I want to get married. So, like, what's the point of, like, me pursuing this relationship?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, fair enough. But we still hung out actually a few times after that, just as friends, just like, because we liked each other.
Yeah.
We haven't seen each other in quite some time because of COVID, but
Yeah.
we'll see. But I guess, a small part of me was just relieved. I was like, okay, like, I finally was like able to, well, I hadn't been trying to date for a while. Like I had just started maybe a few months before that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess there was a little bit of relief there.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, like Lisa's had her dates and like in her experiences, and I finally had mine.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a competition, it's still like,
Yeah.
it's still there. Like, it's
Yeah.
still there. And then I don't know. I guess I felt, I just felt like I could like feel more and like experience more.
Mm-hmm.
Like I definitely felt more love and like compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for her and just like in general.
Yeah.
So I feel like it just kind of opened up my heart a bit more. If you want to put it like that.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, it was also like, it was a bit painful and like unfortunate, and I was a bit sad that like we couldn't have more like romantic time together. But
Yeah.
I understood why she made that decision, and my stupid kidney stone got in the way too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was a really good experience, and because she was so familiar with like polyamory herself, having I think she said she dated somebody,
Mm-hmm.
or at least like was roommates with people who were polyamorous. Like she had familiarity with it,
Yeah.
and because she just had that understanding, it just made me feel a lot more comfortable around the whole situation.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't trying to like explain to her what what you and I had decided we wanted to do. Like she got it.
Yeah, she didn't think like, oh, that's really weird. You're married,
Yeah.
but you're trying to like hang out with me and like go on a date with me. Like,
Yeah, it made it so much
Yeah.
easier. Like I didn't have to.
Yeah, she got it.
She wasn't like there was no apprehension on her part, being like, oh, like I don't know about this polyamory thing. Like, what's that?
Yeah.
Like that wasn't a factor for her.
Yeah.
It was more of just like, that's great. Like I get why you're doing that, but like this is what I want.
Yeah.
And they're not quite aligning, so
Yeah.
we're just not gonna like, we just won't pursue each other romantically anymore.
Yeah. But earlier you had said it was like you finally understood and you finally got it. Like how you
Yeah.
could still love me and still like talk about that a little bit more.
Okay, yeah. So I guess I was a little bit nervous to tell you, but at the same time I was also like excited because I was like, yeah, I had this experience and I felt this connection and this passion for somebody else, but like I still feel it just the same, if not stronger, for you.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it got transferred from you to her. It was just like it just got bigger in me.
Yeah.
And now I could also share that with you.
Yeah.
Share that passion and that love.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I was a little nervous because like it just happened so suddenly and unexpectedly, and I just wasn't sure how you're gonna react.
Yeah.
On the back of my head, I knew you'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I was so excited. I was very excited that,
Yeah.
And I knew before you even told me. I just like knew. I could just tell.
Really?
Yeah.
How? How'd you tell them?
Well, first, remember I had been in Costa Rica by myself, and it was, sorry, I have like hair. It was my last day there, and I had been telling my friends that like that you hadn't ever had an experience yet. I was kind of explaining the whole thing to them, and then as I was saying the words, you haven't had an experience with somebody else yet. I don't know. I just got this feeling that was like, I don't think that's true anymore. It like I don't know. I just somehow I knew, and I could just tell, and I was like, and then when we came home, you picked me up from the airport. We came home, and I was telling you all about it. And then afterwards, you were like, I have something to tell you. And I was like, I knew it. Because, I mean, I was like, what else could he have to tell me? You know, like, what could it be? Like, I just, and I had that feeling the day before. And so I just, like, I knew. I just knew.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You saw the future.
I
guess you saw the present. Even though you weren't there.
Yeah. I don't know. I just got that feeling. Oh, hi. Hi, Fiona. But yeah.
So yeah, I guess it was just a really, I guess, enlightening and opening first experience.
Yeah.
Because I wish it kind of had lasted longer, but
Mm-hmm.
the several circumstances just didn't make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. The last guy I dated at near the end of 2020, yeah, I really liked him. And we dated for like a month, and it was really good. And he ended things for personal reasons, and like that, yeah, that was really hard. And I was like so bummed.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I really liked him, and the relationship was going really well, and I could see, I was like, oh man, this could really work. Yeah, and so it is. And that's a weird feeling to go through too, to feel like heartbreak in a sense, but then also be like in love with somebody else, but be experiencing heartbreak at the same time. Like, that's really...
Yeah, it's interesting because I guess it's like there's heartbreak and like there is also a little bit of feeling of like loneliness, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's not nearly as like intense
Yeah.
as when you're single though.
Yeah.
If you've gotten to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's a very strange thing that, and I'm sure we're gonna experience many times.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very weird to, have this person that you love right here in front of you, but also be feeling heartbroken at the same time about somebody else, and also to be able to talk about it, to be able to say like, gosh, I'm feeling like this really sucks, and I'm not feeling great about it, and to be able to talk about it to the person that you love is really weird, like I've never experienced that before, obviously.
Yeah.
And I mean,
yeah, it's not common or talked about at all.
Yeah. And I mean, for both of us, like, your experience was so short-lived, and mine was pretty short too, that like you can't even call it heartbreak, right? Because neither of us was in love with this other person.
Yeah.
And
true. Yeah.
it was still a breakup, but like I get it, not full on heartbreak, but still, like, if anyone has dated someone and felt like it was going well and then had it and everyone knows that feeling.
Yeah.
And so
heartbreak might be too much.
But
like a mini heartbreak, or I don't know, just strong and intense disappointment.
Yeah, a really strong disappointment. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really interesting. And so yeah, I feel like, oh God, it'll be really interesting to see what happens when, like, one of us actually does fall in love, like, for real fall in love, and see how that plays out.
Yeah.
And to then feel in love with two people, because we've both experienced having feelings for another person while also being in love. And like you were saying, like, it was really heart-opening, like...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've heard you say that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just described it maybe a little differently.
Yeah.
But that idea.
Yeah.
Still the same.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be really interesting to see, what happens when one of us, like, really falls in love with somebody else, and how that plays out, and then, if there's more, like, breakups or heartbreaks along the way, how that's going to go too. But yeah, it's really interesting how the whole thing has evolved, especially for you, going from this is really hard, and needing a lot of rules and boundaries to feel like you have some control over the situation, to now feeling like, oh, it's whatever, it's no big deal.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's just the progression.
Yeah, yeah. But for me, it's going to be different, and I think it's going to be hard, and I think it's going to be harder for me than I'm anticipating. I mean, I'm anticipating it being hard, but like I have a feeling it's just gonna be harder than I think it is when you actually start dating other people, like for real.
Yeah.
You know, because I haven't experienced that yet, and so I'm gonna have to go through what you've already been through. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everyone has to experience it their own way.
Yeah.
You can be told exactly how it's going to play out, but
Yeah.
you haven't felt it or experienced it yet. So
Yeah, exactly.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine what it's going to be like, and I know I have an understanding of what it's going to be like, but to actually feel it is going to be, yeah, a whole nother thing. Hopefully, it's not as hard as I think it's going to be.
We'll see. We'll see.
And there you have it. That is it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, we had so much fun doing this. So, thank you guys for tuning in. And also, thank you guys for all of your feedback and engagement with me on social media. It has been so fun to have strangers, like people I have never met before, reach out to me and say, "Hey, I listened to your podcast and I think what you guys are doing is really awesome." Like, I love getting those messages because it means that like what we're doing is reaching people and it's working, and to hear from people and hear their stories and hear their own experiences with either polyamory or ethical non-monogamy and everything in between. It has just been so fun, and I love hearing from all of you. So please, please, please reach out to me on social media. I would love to hear from you. My handle on Instagram is at underscore Elisa, ELISA, dot Janelle, JANELLE. And yeah, reach out to me. I really want to hear from you. And also, we have an email. So if you would like to email us, if you have any questions or maybe something you want to hear us talk about, let us know. Like, we are totally here for you and your suggestions, and we want to cater to whatever it is that you want to hear from us. You know, this should be like a collaborative thing. We want to be giving our community whatever it is that they're looking for. So, yes, please, please, please reach out to us. And that email and my social links are also linked at the bottom of the show notes. So, scroll down to the show notes on whatever platform you're listening to, and it'll all be right there linked. Lastly, don't forget that next week there will not be a recorded episode. It's going to be the live stream. So the link for that is at the bottom of this as well. And that's also on my social profiles too. So we really, really hope that you guys will join us. I think it's going to be so fun to do this live stream. So that live stream, it will be recorded and it will be published as an episode the following day. So if you can't attend the live stream, like, you're still going to be able to listen to it just like you would any other episode. It's just going to come out a day later. So please tune in for that too. We're really excited. We hope to see you there.